That's what they're telling me to come for me. No hesitation when I come forward. I won't let you go. When she telling me to come forward, come for me. That's what they're telling me to come forward. No hesitation when I come forward. I won't let her go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's telling me to come forward, come for me. See, I don't know why I finally now I just spoke my mind. I know it's long since we spoke sometime, but this thing no play, I go change your mind. Just give me some time, baby, please. Cause I don't have no time to waste. No more back and forth just like Aaliyah. That's all I wanna do right now. Grab it up. So you know me gonna grab it up. Body to body make a bend up on that reeling. Bad man turn you over like a steering. Well, when me gonna grab it up. So you know me gonna grab it up. Body to body make a bend up on that reeling. Bad man turn you over like a steering. Well, she's telling me to come forward, come for me. That's what she's telling me to come for me. No hesitation when I come forward. I won't let you go. When she's telling me to come forward, come for me. That's what she's telling me to come forward. No hesitation when I come forward. I won't let her go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's telling me to come forward, come for me.
Just killed it.
You made the decision to play Thiago. But Klopp doesn't change the system. Since move back left, you don't want to change from the 4-3.
Boom, boom, boom. What's going on, people? We're back again on the Jerry James Show for another video. And this one's bringing you that breaking news story. We spoke yesterday on streams. We've been speaking for the last week, to be fair, you know, wanting new signings, what's the developments, gone all quiet. And here we are, we've got some developments. So we're back live here with you, bringing you that content. Big up to everyone. We're joined, obviously, today by the main man himself, Ram in the building. And we've obviously got K-Mac as well, representing the chat down below. So big up to everyone as well. Big up to everyone in the chat. If we're new to the channel, please make sure we're subscribing. We're subscribing en route to 100 million subscribers. So please subscribe. That's the target. And if obviously you're watching us now, please make sure you are smashing the like. We need the likes to go up. We need you smashing the like. You don't have to want to get the bouncers in, kick you off the show. It's not going to be nice. Just get your ticket to entry, man. Before I get to the people in the chat, Ram, K-Mac, how you guys doing, man?
Yeah, man, not too bad, man. Not too bad at all. All good,
Not too bad.
Good, man. Just going to get into the people in the chat. We got G in the building. Big up to G. Hope you're doing well. G should be joining us shortly. We got Jonathan in the building as well. Big up to Jonathan as well, all the way from Colombia. We've got Captain Sal, RJ in the building, and many more. So, guys, please make sure we are smashing the like. And, guys, engage with us in the chat because we need your perspective as well. The big talking point before we move on to some other talking points as well on the transfer hub today. Romeo Lavia reportedly has agreed terms with Liverpool. So contract details, playing time, all that type of stuff, all those things that can get kind of undone when negotiating with a player seem to have been agreed. Lavia's camp have given the green light for the move to happen. We're going to start with K-Mac. Chat to me. How big of a deal is this? How is this good news? Are we happy with the fact that, there seems to be some sort of progression on the Lavia front as well? Because we have heard in the last couple of days, Arsenal, Chelsea sniffing around, and Liverpool seem to have, just seem to have pounced on that.
I'm happy that we're finally making progress on a DM. I'm happy about that. But I don't want to put all the eggs in the Lavia basket, so to speak, because we're crying out for a DM right now. And if we're gonna think that a 19-year-old is gonna be our next Fabinho, then I think we need to have a little bit of realism here, like, because I think we need someone more experienced, if I'm honest, and maybe he can then like follow them. But I'm hoping that the Lavia is a deal that's going to get done, because we need one, and I'm hoping that Thiago stays now if we're just getting Lavia, so Lavia can maybe learn off Thiago, and Thiago can be that DM, and Lavia can be that guy that helps him with his minutes, and we don't push Thiago into like injury red line type sketch again. That makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to obviously play devil's advocate. I know Rams bounced off for a bit. Look, Klopp spoke in the podcast. I know you've probably listened to it as well. Spoke in the podcast, kind of highlighting the main characteristic he's looking for from a midfield from the team, essentially, is for us to become a possession-based side. In years gone past, was the gegenpress being the best counter-pressing team. He spoke of being a possession-based team very, alarmingly more than I would have kind of believed myself. Looking into this now, looking into the signing, the amount we're going to have to put down. I know it's rumored that we're, putting down entering negotiations with a £35 million bid. See if we can prize them away that way. They've been quite adamant it's going to be 50 million. In a hypothetical world, if we spend 50 million on Lavia, is Klopp looking at not replacing Fabinho, but moving away from that type of midfielder, moving away from a destroyer type, 6 foot plus type of DM, and going more to a guy that can cover ground a bit more, run a bit more, better in possession, can progress the ball better, and allow the link-up play to kind of flow within the team better. I say that because in the last 2 pre-season games, we've actually seen Trent playing the DM role, and he's very much of that ilk, more possession-based, wants to move about a bit, has more legs than Fabinho, isn't a destroyer. And we've seen it's been 2 games on the spin now where Trent has not touched the right-back position at all. We haven't even seen a positional swap where Clarkson or was it Bradley coming into midfield or them rotating. It's been strictly Trent in the DM. And that's it. Is Lavia maybe the guy they're looking at and saying, no, look, if we've got Trent, we can play Trent right back, and Lavia's now at DM, and he offers us what Trent offers us to a certain extent from midfield. From that position, anyway.
You know what I'm going to say, though, don't you? If you look at the heat maps, then no. Because it's still the same position that Fabinho would be in, and it's still this type of job that Fabinho needs to do. So I don't think we're moving away from that, because we still need a guy to cover the centre-backs, because we seem to be playing an inverted left-back and an inverted right-back now, which for me is just completely crazy, because it leaves everything down the wings open and just an onslaught from the midfield that can pick the ball up from the transition from the defence to the midfield, which is what happened in the two games that we just played. Most of their goals came from us giving the ball away from our defence to midfield. So if you want to throw a Lavia in there, is he going to be the guy that does it?
But that's my point.
You can put that on a 19-year-old.
No, I understand that, we wanted to do the same thing with Bellingham. Let's be honest. Bellingham, Chouameni, when we
another 19-year-old.
Yeah, another 19-year-old, and we wanted Chouameni, and ideally we wanted a midfield of whether it was Caicedo, Bellingham, and Enzo, or Caicedo, Bellingham, and Chouameni. That was, the words on a lot of people's mouths. What I'm trying to say is, that's the point, isn't it? We're losing the ball in midfield. So we can have a Fabinho there if you're willing to lose the ball. So I think if you go back to how we used to play before, I think we were willing to lose the ball in midfield and in forward areas, being really direct, knowing that our midfield was going to go and try win it back. So we had the likes of Henderson, Wijnaldum, and Fabinho that were going to go and do that. When you're now in possession a bit more, you're not looking to lose the ball as much in midfield. And I know Trent had a mediocre game in the last game and gave the ball away a couple of times. But in an ideal situation, he's not giving the ball away. And then Lavia is someone that won't give the ball away as well. I think, obviously, we're going to go and look into the stats as well. But he's someone, when you look at, he doesn't give the ball away, whether he's being pressed, whether he's distributing the ball, he hardly gives the ball away. And yeah, there are going to be mistakes. He's a young player, but the profile of player he is, it's suited more to a possession style based of football. I mean, if you're looking at Lavia probably fits more to what City have done in the past than what Declan Rice offers. And it looks like City were going in for Declan Rice. We're trying to go down the possession route. That's why I throw that in there.
Lavia for me feels like a Caicedo, but like he's ahead really of a Caicedo because he's 2 years younger than him. But the thing about it is, Lavia will work if we play Trent as the inverted right back. Like I can't be having Trent being in the midfield as a DM with a Lavia next to him. That's just not going to work. Like, because then you're going to have the right back who's going to be Connor Bradley coming into Trent's position. Like, and we've seen this in the last game. Like, why is he playing an inverted right back when he has Trent, who can play the inverted right back, who pretty much plays the whole game in midfield anyway, as the inverted right back? You then throw another guy in there who's never done the job before, getting in the way, and that's what it showed in the last game. And also not being the type of guy who's good enough to be able to play that role anyway and be able to support the defence. If you're going to play the double pivot where the inverted right back comes into the midfield like Trent does, and then have Lavia, so they're both next to each other, then that works perfectly because you've got more midfielders. But if you're throwing him in like as the Fabinho DM to do a Fabinho job, like I don't know whether he's got enough experience to do that. Like I think like Paulinho would have been perfect for me because he's got loads of experience and he's played a lot of games. But now he's out for like the next 3 months or so with that shoulder injury. So I mean, 50 million on a 19-year-old that's never done that job in that type of team before. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know whether that is the right money to spend. What do you guys think?
You know, check this one out. Ram then. Before we get into that, the nooks and crannies and look at what the chat are saying. How do we feel about Lavia? Obviously, rumoured that Liverpool are entering negotiation with a £35 million bid. But obviously, Southampton have been adamant it's going to have to be 50 to price him away. How do you feel about Lavia being the guy? I know you've spoken glowingly before about him, but now that it's edging closer, how excited or how optimistic and happy are you about the deal?
I'm happy that we are going for someone like him. My main concern is whether that's just going to be it in terms of getting in getting in the DM. Because of given the fact that we're getting in Lavia, it looks like we're going to get rid of Henderson and Fabinho. I said this before and I'll say it again. Once he hits those rough patches, who is there to cover in for when he does have those rough patches? No one. And it will happen. He's 19 years old. He's played at the highest level for a team that has just got relegated. He hasn't really played for a team that is expected to go on and challenge. And he's only had a handful of international experience. Like, it's a good signing that we're making, but we need more. We can't be just having him in the team. We need to have someone else behind him. We need to have someone else that could cover the slack when he does have those rough patches in form. Who was going to do that? I thought if we're going to keep Fabinho, it would be good if we get Lavia because you can rotate between the both of them. Because I guarantee you, Fabinho can take in the heat, whilst Lavia can take the pressure off Lavia and put it on Fabinho, who can cover for him. And seeing as though we're getting rid of both, I'm concerned whether this is going to be the only player and that Fabinho and Henderson leaves. And by the way, we still need more. We still need a centre-back. I've said this before. My main worry wasn't midfield anymore. It was centre-backs. I think we're going to properly neglect the centre-back position and it's going to cost us a lot. And that's my biggest worry.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer either, but I totally agree with Rams with the centre-back issue. But this really does feel like a panic buy. I'm sorry. It really does. It feels like there's no planning on this one. And it's literally, oh, crap, we've lost 2 players because we weren't expecting them to go. Oh, we were maybe going to go for him next year or maybe in the next window, and he was going to maybe get a bit more game time at Southampton, and then we were going to look at him. And now it's like, no, we need to get him now. And also the fact that Chelsea might not be getting anywhere with the Caicedo deal, they might be looking at him. Arsenal might be looking at him, and we might have panicked and just gone, right, we need to pull the switch here now quickly. And I think there's better out there. I think there's players with more experience out there. I think there's players that we can get, like maybe 2 for the price of him. Like, you know, I don't even want to be talking about money because we should have loads of it. But it just seems to be that conversation again. It's like, we just got 50 million. Oh, Lavia's 50 million.
Who do you think we could get for 25 million?
I think we could get 2 players for 50 million that would do his job, and one of them's got loads of experience, is a lot older, and then the other one we could use as a player that could be utility for him. I reckon we could get Tyler Adams for 25 and Alex Scott for 25, and that's us boxed off. And we've also got a body that can also play defensive and right back, which is Alex Scott and Tyler Adams.
I'm not too keen on.
You know, it's not ideal, but I think that would work as well.
I'm not too keen on Tyler Adams, to be honest. I'm not very keen on him to play as a 6, especially a 6 next to Trent. I'd be more happy with the fact that Lavia is there rather than Tyler Adams. That's just my personal opinion.
No, that's fine. Everyone's got their opinions on players. Like, it's just Lavia's played 26 games. Let's just kind of put this in perspective. He's played 26 senior games in his entire career. He's played 1 international game, and he's lost 90% of the games he's played. Like you can't really ignore that.
But
I know it was Southampton, but Southampton are selling players for 15, 20 million. And we're really going to hit 45, 50 million on this guy? Like, I can't say it's good. I can't say it's good business.
If it's 35 million plus add-ons, then I'm very happy with that deal, because, like I said, add-ons is whether the player is successful or not. If it's not successful, we don't pay the add-ons. If he is successful, we play the add-ons. But like I said it before, I said it again. I'll say it again. We need to sign another player behind him, and we need someone experienced, because our midfield is now literally lacking in experience, especially our starting 11. Because if he is expected to start next to McAllister and Szoboszlai, that midfield is incredibly inexperienced. And please tell me a time where a midfield has actually been inexperienced. That's one major trophy.
I can't. You're absolutely right. I can't actually say.
Barring probably Leicester, because that was literally a freak season. People will say it was a fluke season. No one else.
2 seconds, guys, because there's some breaking news.
It's not Fabinho, is it?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
But I've seen a picture of him at the airport.
I've seen the screen now, which is from David Ornstein. People, I want to say Twitter, but it's called X now. So Twitter's now called X. David Ornstein reporting Fabinho transfer to Al Ittihad in jeopardy. Talks ongoing, plus all parties committed to deal, but there is a delay and 20-year-old to resume #LFC training on Wednesday unless breakthrough is made beforehand. Absolutely nothing to do with his dogs. I'm going to click into it and see if we can get any more details.
So that photo of him in the airport, is that him coming to Germany then?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen that.
To fly with the rest of the squad?
I haven't seen that image. The Athletic, so through David Ornstein's reporting negotiations and conversations are continuing with Al Ittihad's desire to sign him undiminished. But there has been a delay to the process, and things stand. Fabinho is set to resume pre-season preparations with Liverpool on Wednesday. Al Ittihad's bid to recruit the Brazil international saw him left out of manager Jurgen Klopp's squad for the summer training camp in Germany, from which they returned to the UK on Monday. Fabinho is himself now back in Liverpool and will rejoin his teammates at the AXA training centre unless a breakthrough can be made in advance. The player, under contract until 2026, is said to have behaved impeccably throughout, and the strong links his representative Jorge Mendes has to Liverpool and Saudi make it conceivable that the switch still happens despite this stall. It has been rumoured that the deal could be scuppered by an apparent rule in Saudi Arabia banning the breed of dogs Fabinho owns. However, any doubt over the move has nothing to do with his 2 French bulldogs. Doesn't state anything as to why that deal might have scuppered people. But let's go with it, man. If Fabinho stays and we've got Lavia, what are we saying then?
We are both happy.
I'm more confident in that happening than getting rid of both of them and bringing in Lavia.
I am very pleased with that.
I said this before. I wouldn't mind Henderson leaving. We bring in Lavia. I'd rather Henderson leave rather than Fabinho leaving. But if Fabinho does end up staying and Lavia comes in, what a person to learn off of, who was arguably world class in the last previous 2 seasons. Forget last season, the season before that. What a perfect player to learn off and learn his game.
Does that not, though, limit the amount of opportunity that Lavia is going to get?
No, because do you know why I say it wouldn't? Because I feel as though, even though Fabinho said he behaved impeccably and everything, I still think he's not 100% sold at Liverpool. So, whilst Lavia is almost dead set, he wants to come to Liverpool. I think he said it's said that he wants to come to Liverpool. So I see it as though Lavia's starting and Fabinho's going to be there to pick up the pieces if he does hit a bad run of form, or he does get injured or whatever. That's how I see it, in my opinion. Because remember, from our expectations, we are going to be playing 60 games, around about 60 games. For what many people want Liverpool to be at this moment in time is around about 60 games. Lavia can't play around about 40 to 50 games. No way. We got to rotate them both. And yeah, I feel as though having Fabinho there will take a lot of pressure off of Lavia, because we at least have someone who has been familiar with the role for the last 4 to 5 months. And it was actually okay. It wasn't bad.
Does this so the belief around a lot of Liverpool fans was that Liverpool are going to have to bring in 2 midfielders now, because Henderson and Fabinho were both leaving. I mean, we're looking to bring in one anyway, one additional to Max and Szoboszlai that we signed. Now that Fabinho's staying, does that mean that any move, or potentially, if we're hypothetically, because the deal could still go through as we've read, does that mean that Liverpool say, actually, Kefram Turan, Manu Kone, whoever else we're interested in getting, palm that off now, and we're just going to go and get Lavia?
Next season, I think.
Yeah.
Next season.
What kind of sits with me now is maybe that's the reason why we haven't been going in for anyone, because the Fabinho deal hasn't been confirmed, and they know that we shouldn't really be spending that 40 million because we haven't got it confirmed to come back yet. But it really does make sense that if we do get Lavia and keep Fabinho, then Lavia can obviously get those 30 games under his belt where, you know, he might be able to make some mistakes, and you know, we've got a Fabinho there as a backup, and also Stefan Baccetic can get some game time as well. So the pair of them can both kind of rotate. And if we keep Thiago as well, then Stefan Baccetic can get some more experience off him as well. So you basically got 2 kids that are learning off 2 players that could really help them for the next year and the year on, if that makes sense. And then even if the Fabinho deal is kind of on the skids for a bit, we've still got the next window, which is only 6 months down the line, isn't it? It's January, isn't it, the next window? So we could sell him then, you know what I mean? And maybe sort that out then. But for me, I'd still think that's something to do with his dogs, by the way. I don't believe that. But the thing about it is, if I get a job and I have to go somewhere, what my personal life has got nothing to do with my employer. If my dogs can't go with me, they'll just go, well, you're still coming to work for us. You know. I find that ridiculous. But there you go.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, the dog thing.
I
but
just do. I'm sorry.
if
What did they do
ideally,
with Ronaldo? Like, what did they do when they signed Ronaldo? Did they say, "Oh, by the way, like, you're not married, so you can't bring your girlfriend over"?
Yeah.
it's Ronaldo, isn't it? Yeah, they'll do anything
You know what I
for
mean? It's
Cristiano.
ridiculous.
But one thing I would like to happen, if we do conclude with Lavia and we keep Fabinho, all eggs must go into a centre back now. Everything needs to go to a centre back. If we do that, I think it'll be around about an 8 to 9 out of 10 window, in my opinion.
Interesting, man. Big up to Honesty for the super chat. Much appreciated. Saying, here in Belgium, we really rate Lavia highly. We don't look at his age because the mentality around here is if you are good to play, age doesn't matter. I agree with that as well. I think he's young.
I rate Lavia, by the way. I rate him. I think he's ahead of Caicedo for me, but it's just.
I think they're more or less the same. As in, JJ made a good point like a couple of months ago. If you swap out Lavia for Caicedo for both teams, would you see that much of a difference?
No way.
For me, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's interesting with this deal because by Cetic, for me, that's a problem. If Fabinho stays, then Cetic doesn't get as many minutes as we think he does. Because Cetic, and I know it was due to obviously injuries, Cetic played about 11 games in the Premier League last season. I think it was 11 or 13, one of those numbers. He's not going to get that amount of games this season because we're looking at obviously Makasa Sobosai, they're not going to be as injury prone as Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and whoever else, and Thiago as an example. So they're going to take that spot. You have Jones who's playing as well in midfield. If Lavia comes in, if we're spending 50 million on Lavia, he's not rotating with Cetic for minutes. He's way ahead in the pecking order if you're spending 50 million. So, go on.
For me, JJ, I'd rather see Cetic play as an 8, as more of a defensive-minded 8 than a 6. I don't think he's ready to be a 6 yet. I think he still needs to go gym. I still think his reading of the game needs to be a little bit better to be a 6. I don't think he's ready yet. And I feel like as a defensive 8, is a lot more risk-free, should I say. There's not a lot of things that you can get wrong that would hurt us. Whereas a 6, if you do something wrong, it could be detrimental to us. So that's why I say I'd rather Cetic play as an 8 than a 6. And he's only 18. He's only 18 years old, so he's still a baby.
We're saying that.
You can't demand game time, Jay.
Sorry?
You can't demand game time. He's a kid.
No.
And the thing about it as well, the thing about with Stefan, if we keep Stefan, I want Elliot not to play in midfield. Get that guy out of our midfield and play him on the right-hand side. Play him in his position that he needs to play.
That's fair, but what I'm saying is it's not about, he's a kid, you can't play in midfield. If you're good enough to get into the team, right, every player should be pushing to play minutes. No, I don't agree with this notion that you're 17, 18 years old and you're just comfortable saying, yeah, you know what, I don't mind playing on the bench. Wow, I'm at Liverpool. Yeah, I get a game in it. No. You want to be going and playing at the highest level. The reason why we're even interested in getting a Lavia is because he's done the same thing at City. He said, I don't want to sit on the bench and be happy with these minutes. I want to play first team football. Bellingham did the same thing. I want to play first team football. From Birmingham, I could have gone to Liverpool. I could have gone to Manchester United. But I was guaranteed game time at Dortmund. And that's why people are interested in me. We're talking about 18 as though you're being a kid. You're 20 soon. We're not talking about a 15-year-old, or a 16-year-old that's breaking through. You're 18 at this point. At 18, if you think about it, every top player that we've gone and had, every top player by the time they were 18 or playing first-team football consistently.
I totally get that. And G made a really good comment in the chat, by the way. He said, if Fabinho's staying, Lavia might look elsewhere.
Yeah. Big up to G for that one. You just reading that saying, look, people keep saying Lavia is going to get game time. Unless Fabinho performs the same way as last season, where does that game time come from of his level? That's my point. That's why I go and look at if Fabinho stays, if we buy Lavia for 50 million, that's a direct kind of action by saying this is our starting DM. Fabinho, you're out.
Did we say the same thing for Diogo Jota though?
When we signed who?
Diogo Jota.
We did, but guess what?
No, he wasn't said to be starting JJ though.
But we didn't. No, but we didn't. But you're forgetting. He wasn't supposed to be starting because he had Bobby and Mane and Salah to displace. That's why. No. But that's why we're not talking about us signing Lavia, but we've got Rodri. We've got a Rodri performing DM, starting in DM. That's completely different. And we know how Liverpool are. He's not performing well. We're looking to offload him. Now the deal's scuppered. He may be staying. That signing, for me, if I was a midfielder, I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, like, I'm the main guy now. If I'm a DM, if I'm Fabinho, I'm thinking, oh, they're trying to displace me.
That's on the guy, in my opinion. That's on Lavia. If Lavia thinks he's not good enough or he's worried that he won't get enough minutes ahead of Fabinho, then honestly, I don't want him to come. You should have some self-belief about yourself, in my opinion.
Lavia's got self-belief. Like, that's why he left Man City.
But, exactly.
But he said to Pep, I'm leaving because I'm good enough to play. And he obviously went to Southampton and he was good enough to play. I kind of like that in the guy, to be honest. And if he's that good, then he can displace Fabinho. But G made a really good comment. Would he even contemplate it if Fabinho's staying? Like,
but that's.
I agree with you though.
That's the way I look at it. Is if he's got self-belief by saying I want to be a starter, then you don't go to a team where you're not the starter thinking that you can displace. You need some reassurances. Bellingham had self-belief in himself, hence why he went to Dortmund. He didn't go to United or Liverpool because he knew he wasn't guaranteed starting minutes because those teams wouldn't offer him that. But he has belief, he has belief in himself by saying I can be the starting DM. He can't look around and be like, oh look, I am getting these like coming off the bench minutes and these kind of FA Cup minutes, the way like Nuno Tavares does at Arsenal at left back or whatever, just these random minutes. But I'm looking at the people in the other, I'm looking at people in my age range and they're saying, oh yeah, like Caicedo's starting for this team, Enzo's starting for this team, and I believe I'm on that level. That's why I look at it, and it's really interesting because.
But he is coming from a Southampton to a Liverpool, so
no, he is. But that's the equivalent of like when, and I know it's different when Rooney went to United, right? When Rooney, and I'm not comparing the two at all, but when Rooney was at Everton, he was 18 years old at Everton. Everton was no big team, but they looked at the talent and said, yeah, we've got to get him, and he's going to be our main guy. And they just put their trust in him. They gave him that number 8 shirt at the time before he moved to the 10. Like, yeah, you're our main guy now. And I think if Liverpool are going to spend that amount on Lavia, I think you only spend that amount by saying, you know what, whether it's now or in 6 months, he's going to be our main starting DM. I think Konate, great example. You spend that amount on Konate, 45 million, 50 million, and then we've got a really good deal. You're more like you're going to start. You're not coming to just challenge Gomez and challenge Matic. We're looking to displace these guys, and I think we've seen it. We've seen it. He's become the starting partnership.
So as a devil's advocate here, then, and I'm just looking at what G's wrote as well. Would you sign Lavia? Okay, this might sound a bit crazy, but it kind of does make a bit of sense. So if Fabinho's staying, would you sign Lavia and send him out on loan to a team that he will play all the time for, like a Leipzig or a Salzburg or someone like that, who play youngsters, and give him a whole season first team football with them, and then
the thing I would do that. See, if I was City, if we had all the money in the world, then that's kind of a model I would adopt all the time. I'd sign any player that I think is good for any amount of money and learn them out to go and play and just have game time, 100%. But we know how Liverpool are. If Liverpool are spending 50 million on a DM, 50 million. I think we signed Fabinho, what was it? Wasn't it 45, 50 as well? Wasn't it the same amount, same price, roughly? Right? If we're spending 50 million on a DM, he's starting at Liverpool. If we sign Lavia for 20 million, that changes the landscape now. So, as I said, it's the amount Liverpool are willing to pay for a player. Liverpool are very much in that bracket with City where we sit there and say, actually, we don't think that's value for money. We're not paying this for a player. Mason Mount, I guarantee the negotiations were there. We just didn't think he was value for money. We saw Szoboszlai as a better value for money. So, because we paid a similar amount for the two players, he's a couple of years younger, but it's a similar amount for the players. The wages, obviously, are much higher for Mount. But Liverpool, if Liverpool signed Lavia for 50 million, for me, that's marquee-esque signing. This is your new DM. If you sign him for 20 million, 15, 20 million, then you're in a space where you can afford to go and be like, you know what, you can go on loan or you can get these minutes because you're coming to go and fill in the challenge. The way Tsimikas has done at left back. He's never really displaced Robertson. He's had some good games, he's had some poor games, but he's just part of the squad. A £50 million signing, you're a starter at majority at any club. Let's just 50 million is a lot of money. So I just don't see it. I think if that happens, then
I don't think you're a starter at Chelsea or Arsenal or Tottenham or Man United.
See,
not 50 million.
No, but I think you are. Look, I know Havertz was 65. Havertz looks like he's starting in the 8. Arteta is running. Arteta in pre-season has played Arteta and Havertz in that number 8 role. And has
Tottenham signed Sancho, Dombele, Richarlison. These are all plus 50 million. They didn't start. Like they're bench players.
Yeah, but again,
this is the thing about Liverpool though. It's like we sign a player and everyone's like, he has to start. No, he doesn't have to start. He could be a squad player. Like
no, but not for 50.
Arsenal got about 5 players on the bench who were all 30+ million pounds, and they're all squad players.
But that was the issue with Richarlison, is that the idea was at one point is that it will be Kane and Richarlison playing up front. They'll go to a 2. That never materialized for him because they had their changes in formation. And you have to remember they've got Kane up front. We're not talking about again having a midfielder that was playing his skin out. It's like if we signed the right winger for 50 million, I'm not looking at him displacing Salah because of how Salah's performed consistently. But if we sign a left back at 50 million, as an example, for me he displaces Robertson. You don't spend 50 million on a left back the same way you don't spend 50 million on a DM. It's a great example. Partey was arguably Arsenal's best player last season. I know he had a poor run towards the end of the season, but for a lot of the season, the argument was, who's better, Casemiro or Partey or Rodri? Which one is the best DM in the Premier League? They signed Rice for 100 million. Partey's now
going to say to that. It's Rodri by a million miles, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. Rodri, I believe Rodri's better, but that was the
That's
argument.
a really good comment. Is Fabinho going to stay to be back up to a 19-year-old?
Exactly. And that's my point. Fabinho isn't staying to be a backup, and that's where this is where it's really confusing. If a player's wanted to go for 50 million to go somewhere else, his mind's already set. We had this. I think K-Mac, you spoke about this with Henderson or someone else did, saying Henderson's wanting to leave and he can't come back. I think it was Jamie Phillips actually, and he can't come back and be captain now. Same with Fabinho. You can't expect Liverpool to sign a player for 50 million in your position. You wanted to leave. Now that the deal's scuppered, you're going to come back and be a first teamer. Because I guarantee they've told Lavia, if they're trying to sign for 50 million, yeah, you're going to be our starter. Fabinho's leaving. We see you as the future of the midfield. Bear in mind, we haven't got another DM.
But I'd ask you this though, JJ. If both of them have this so-called first team mentality of trying to be in the first team, wouldn't that be beneficial for Liverpool?
No, it would be, but that's not how football works, Fran. Like Liverpool, like at the top level, it doesn't work like that because when you win, when you're at that level, in my opinion anyway, it's I've done this, I've done that, I've got an ego about myself. I think Liverpool could have done that 5-6 years ago when you haven't won anything and you can go and buy Wijnaldums and Robertsons and this and use the energy of you're not anything yet. You haven't achieved anything as players yet. So you know what? You're going to battle out against each other, and because you're trying to push each other on, you can spur each other on, just like you would do in an academy. I think players spur each other on. When you get to that first team level, it's not like that. Because if you're a Fabinho, you've been the starting DM. Like, you've been the main guy. I mean, he played loads of minutes last season. I think he played the most out of any midfielder last season.
I think he did.
So, and that's my point. So you don't go from there to being second in command to a player and knowing that there's a player to go and get you, because then you feel like you don't have trust in the manager.
But then
your relationship was based off trust. Your relationship was based off the fact that no matter what, any big game, I'm starting the game. I could have had a poor game 2 games in a row. Man United versus Liverpool, I'm starting. And we know that's what it's been. That's what Henderson's role's been. That's what Virgil van Dijk's role's been. That's what Salah's role has been. When Salah was poor, there was never any risk of them being dislodged. Now, I'm not saying that that's not what I would like. In an ideal scenario, you'd want that. But then you have to also manage the egos. How do you manage the ego of a Fabinho that's achieved everything in world football, looking at a youngster that hasn't done anything? We're not talking about, you're bringing in Kimmich to battle out with Fabinho. That's a battle. From Fabinho's perspective anyway. He might be looking at it thinking, what, Lavia? Yeah, he's good, but he doesn't know what I have.
Can I just say something there as well? I think what's interesting as well is Lavia's still got to get into the pre-season mentality. So, like, we need to get a medical done with him like ASAP to then get him over on the Asian tour.
We need him on that.
If he misses that, he's literally all he's going to have is all he's going to have is like AXA training and then straight into the team. And the thing about it as well is, like, this could be a blessing in disguise. It really could, like, because the media have all been saying that we were going to sign a midfielder anyway, whether Henderson or Fabinho left. Like, that was already brought up. Like, we were going to sign a DM anyway, like a specialist DM, even if they were coming or going, those two. So this Lavia thing could have been happening anyway, but just not as quick as we expect it now. And for me, Chelsea, I'm starting with Fabinho. I'm starting with Fabinho, and I'm going to play Trent as the inverted right back. Like, I just am. Like, and even by looking at the tactics that we played in the last couple of games, that seems like that would be perfect. And you've obviously got your McAllister and your Zabolsai or Curtis Jones as the other midfielders, and I'd be happy with that. And we get a result against Chelsea playing that.
Yeah.
We've got a guy that's been there, done it. Like, okay, yeah, he nearly went. He comes back. He's still that guy. He still had decent form the last 10 games of the season. I know Southampton. I know that Southampton game as well was a bit.
Exactly, but that's my point. That's why I look at it, and I'm like, that's why I agree with you, K-Mac. I'm like, if you're Fabinho, if you're keeping Fabinho at this moment in time, Fabinho starts. It's the same way with Soboslai. He hasn't done anything yet to go and dislodge Jones from what he done on the back of last season and for the Euros. He hasn't. So for me, Fabinho starts, but what impact does that have on a Lavia, or what impact does that have on a Fabinho's career? So a great example: if Fabinho plays out of his skin right till January, and Lavia can't get in,
Europa League and Cup games.
No, but is Lavia now a flop? What happens if Lavia can't get into the team because we haven't seen Lavia. Lavia doesn't get a chance to play because we've seen this.
No, but I mean, but then JJ,
Lavia's just a 19-year-old. That's what he is.
But JJ, even if you think about the price tag, we're paying for a long-term investment. So get 10 years out of him. That's like 5 years,
no,
5 million a year.
The idea that you get 10 years out of a player is nonsense. We've got one player. We've got Henderson that played 11 years. You've got
no, but then okay, fine.
You're going to get maximum. You're going to get maximum. Listen,
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years max. Of any player.
And then we sell him on. We get a profit.
But that's my point. What happens?
We're going to get 3 years, and then he's going to want to go to Real Madrid.
But that's my point. What are you going to want? You're going to get you spent 50 million. You're going to spend 50 million on a player, just as people are saying, right? Because we could get a max seller. We could get other players for 50 million, right? You could probably get 2 players for 50 million if you wanted to. You're going to spend 50 million on a player that's going to go and sit on the bench for how much? For how many? He's going to be gone. We're going to offload him for a loss. You can't keep 50 million just sitting on the bench. Even
but then if he then comes in and does well as a six, then he probably stay, and then
No,
we'll
but
sell
he
him on for
doesn't-
about 80 million
But he
pounds.
doesn't, because I'm putting this out there for you. Imagine if Fabinho goes and plays out of his skin next season. You're right.
But what if he doesn't?
No, but if he doesn't, but Liverpool are trying to offload him, so you offload him now because he hasn't done. That's my point. You either offload him now, or you put your belief into Fabinho, and you go and get a Tsimikas equivalent of a Fabinho to go, like a Tsimikas equivalent at left back, obviously at DM of a Fabinho, that's going to go and do that role. Because you can't bring in, it's like
Tyler
you can't spend
Adams.
60 million on Soboslai. You can't spend 60 million on Soboslai and still guarantee the current first team's minute. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like with Nunes, no matter how good Firmino was on the back end of last season, which he was, we couldn't go and offer him more because we just spent 80 million on the forward. Unless you let go of the 80 million pound forward, which you accept that it's a flop.
So what if it's a
can't.
case of but what if it's a case of we sell Fabinho the next season?
Yeah.
Like how Man City do it.
No, he can. But if he's played out of his skin, yes. When's the last time? Look. See Calvin Phillips as an example, right? He's a flop.
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips is not playing for City no matter what. But guess what? City thought they could go and get Calvin Phillips, and that Calvin Phillips would do what they thought Rice would do when they tried to bid for it. He's going to be that English, robust kind of midfielder. They're going to be able to go and play like this. He could have dislodged anyone in that midfield. So now he's a flop. Now if they sell him, they're not selling him for 50 million or 80 million, whatever they say.
How old is Calvin Phillips, though?
You're
27.
not. No, yeah, he's 20. Yeah, 27 or whatever.
The
Can I just
resale
say
value on
something
that
on
is just so.
Can I just say something on that? I actually felt like they got Calvin Phillips because we wanted him. Like, I felt like they just bought him because they didn't want us to get him, because they wanted us maybe to have a Fabinho where the legs fell off him, and obviously he's seen it coming. Can I just say something as well? Like, if I'm the manager, here's my proposition to Lavia. Okay, my proposition is, look, you're coming to Liverpool. Okay, you're going to be Fabinho's replacement. Okay, this is the conversation before the Saudi Arabia stuff came up. Okay, because we probably would have had this conversation.
100%.
And it's, look, we've been looking at you. We think you did really well with Southampton. It's unfortunate you went down. Look, we really rate you. We'd like to offer you a position at the club where you're going to be the successor for Fabinho in a year's time. Yeah, because we're going to move Fabinho on. We're not going to renew his contract. He's got 2 years left. I think he has got 2 years left. We may sell him to Saudi Arabia because obviously that stuff was coming up. Are you willing to take that role where you get a guaranteed 30 games a season? Like, Tsimikas played like 30 games last season, didn't he? You know, that wasn't expected. So, you know, are you willing to play that many games? If he's turned around and said, no, I want to play more, then it's like, okay, then we can't guarantee you that. Okay, now Fabinho is leaving, we're like, okay, we can guarantee you more game time. Fabinho comes back, we can still go back to him and say, look, Fabinho's going to get even less minutes now because he said he wants to leave. He's come back. He's understanding that he's probably going to have to wait for another window. Are you willing to come to us? But you're still not going to be the first starter all of the time. We're going to rotate with the pair of yous. I mean, Lavia should accept that. He's a 19-year-old kid who's coming to Liverpool to be Fabinho's heir.
No, I understand that, but the idea, but I don't see, this is where I differ, right? I don't believe that in football there's this thing that happens where, why do you hate Lavia, Sleepy Forest? I don't hate Lavia.
We don't. We rate him.
I'm saying I want him to start.
Him, man. What the hell?
I'm saying I want him to start. That's my point. I'm saying I want him to start.
Jay's argument is to start him from the start.
JJ, I'm the same. I want him to start, but I also want Fabinho to stay.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is with me? It's I agree, right? But
I ain't throwing him in at Chelsea. Like, I'm sorry, if Fabinho's here, I ain't throwing Lavia in at Chelsea.
Exactly, but that what it is that argument that, oh, you're going to be someone's heir. That never ever works. That never works in football. You never ever go and buy a player and you're like, yeah, he's going to be this person's heir. We thought that was Thiago at Barca. What happened? They got rid of him and got Rakitic.
Well, that's because Pep wanted him at Bayern.
Yeah, but he went to Bayern. He was supposed to be the heir apparent to Lahm because Lahm was playing in DM.
No, don't do that, JJ.
He's
Don't
come
do
in and
that.
do
No
that.
one was
They got
saying
Kimmich
that,
instead.
bro.
No, but it was because he was playing in midfield. What happened then? It was like, oh, Goretzka came in. Like, that never, ever, ever, ever works. This whole idea that you buy a player that's going to go and take over this player when he gets old. No. What teams do, they go and buy the next best player to go and replace him.
Man City.
Always. Unless
Man
the
City.
players are outstanding talent. Like, you're talking like Gerrard, Foden. There's loads of players that we've gone and seen in the past where it's like, they're in the ranks and they're like, actually, you're just going to play loads of games and we're getting rid of that old guy to bring you in. If we're bringing Lavia in, he's got to come in and it's got to be, look, in 6 months, you're playing every single game. It just has to be. It can't be, oh, in a year's time, you're at Liverpool and you're going to work. Like, it's not, look at Cavallo. Cavallo, apparently, from what he said, talking last week, earlier yesterday, saying, I was guaranteed I was going to play in the 10 and we were going to play with the 10. We never did. I started playing left wing. All right, I want to go. And it's the idea that, oh, you should be happy with it because you're 18 or 19. Your career is short. Your career is only like 10, 11, 12 years on average. You're thinking, you know what? I can see Bellingham playing first team football where he's playing every single game. Haaland did, so did Sancho, so has Foden, so has Saka. No, I want to play first team football as well. I'm not 16. I'm 20 almost, 19, 20. I want to play every single game. Every single game. Remember, we thought the same thing with Jones people. We thought Jones was going to replace this person. We thought this person. That never works. So for me, if you're going to start Lavia, if you're going to bring Lavia in, you just got to start him. And we just got to cut Fabinho off. Or unless you're spending peanuts on a Lavia where it makes sense. I don't think Liverpool.
What if it's 35 million, JJ?
Then yeah, if you've spoken to him and like you said, like K-Mac argued and said, you know what, you're going to be this guy, and he agrees to that, then yeah, then you can be a bit flexible. You can loan the player out. You can do whatever.
What about if it's 35 million with add-ons excluding add-ons? But if we included add-ons, it'd be 50.
And what are the add-ons? Then we're getting into like
performance-based add-ons.
Performance-based.
Yeah.
So what if they gave them Tyler Morton?
Yeah,
Tyler Morton.
yeah. No, I mean, I'd want Lavia. I'd want Lavia. Listen, I don't think people understand how much I rate Lavia. I want Lavia for 80 million.
No, I rate Lavia big time.
Yeah, as in, like, if Liverpool had the money, I'd want him for 80 million. And in an ideal world, I agree. I'd love like a Paella next to him and do my football manager. That would be amazing. But I'm saying if a club's spending 50 million on you, yeah, I'm just gonna chuck this at you, Ram, right? You're this up and coming, Sri Lanka's best ever youngster, right? You're playing in the UK, you're tearing it up. You're 19, 20, yeah. I mean, I know you're much older than that now, but let's say 19, 20 at the peak of your powers. If a team's coming and playing 50 million for you, are you comfortable by then caveating it and saying, yeah, but actually you're going to be
but I would be the kind of guy that be like, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna prove myself on the pitch. I want to prove that I want to be the first team player. That I'm gonna be that £50 million player.
No, but if another team came for you, yeah, that's of a similar level and said to you, you're going to be our main player and we're putting our trust in you, you still need to have that same mentality of I'm going to prove everyone that I'm the main guy. But you've got assurances you're going to play week in, week out. And you know you're going to develop more. And in a year's time, you could be talked about as being the best DM in the league. Whereas at this club, you're just going to be that nice rotation piece.
I think he's too good to be rotation. I think he'll probably push himself into the team.
But
I don't think he just goes straight in and starts though if Fabinho's there. I think he's there to push Fabinho out.
But this idea that is the premise of this idea is the fact that whether Fabinho actually comes back to his previous form, which we still don't know is going to happen.
Like I said, this is hypotheticals. Fabinho might not even come back. It's stalled. Like talks are still ongoing. You can see it on the banner.
But I would say this, JJ, though, and this goes for all the greatest managers of all time. The best managers, if a player is not 100% at the club, the manager don't want them there. The manager does not want them there at all. Whether it be your captain, your vice, your talisman. If you're not 100% on board, then he don't want you there. Like Klopp got rid of Ivan Perisic because he wasn't fully 100% with the club. That was their best talent at the time, one of their best talents. I guarantee he's going to be the same with Fabinho. I think Fabinho's not 100% at it, so he wouldn't get as much game time if Lavia comes in. That's how I see it, in my opinion.
Yeah, very, very true, man. Very, very true. Gonna look at some of the comments.
I mean, everything David Ornstein says pretty much happens. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
he wouldn't say it if he wasn't sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna get into the comments now. A lot of you guys slapping comments in. Big up to everyone. We got 130, 40 people in the building. Guys, make sure we are smashing the like on this one. We got Honesty saying, I hope that we are also working a deal for a centre back behind closed doors. How LFC loves to do, and I thought people where we ain't signing no one. It shows that when it comes to LFC, we never know.
No, but we kind of expected this season because the value of the football club dropped exponentially when we dropped to the Europa League. So it had to happen. They had to do something. Because think about it, the only thing that FSG care about is the value of Liverpool Football Club in terms of money-wise. We lost a lot of money through Europa League. So they had to put some money into it. I don't even know if they put money into it. They might have taken money out of the club to pay for all the stuff. Who knows?
There we go, man. Big up to Sleepy Forest saying, I seriously think Trent is a 6 because we have literally no one there. Well, yeah, but I mean, we have youngsters that could. We've got 2 youngsters, right? We've got 3 youngsters. 2 of them have played in DM, and 1 of them have played at right back. Trent could have played at right back, and we could have played the 2 other youngsters in the defensive midfield position. Hey, McAllister's even played in the defensive midfield position before. We have not attempted to do that one bit in the last 2 games.
I don't understand it. I just don't. I was on Big Six Bants last night talking about it. It's just baffled me. It just baffled me why we play an inverted right back guy who's never ever done the job ever, and he's a kid, and he's basically making him look rubbish. Like, he's had 2 rubbish games now for me, and it's not his fault. He's not an inverted right back. Like, he's playing in midfield. He's not.
Connor Bradley.
Like, yeah, it's like there's only a couple of inverted players who can play inverted right back to a really, really good level. One of them's Trent. One of them's
Kimmich.
Kyle Walker can do it. Kimmich can do it.
No, Kyle Walker can't do
Kyle
it.
Walker.
No, you can. You can.
No, JJ. Man City fans don't want him to play inverted. They hate him.
Because of what they've got, because of what Stones offered. When he was doing it season before, everyone was saying, "Wow, what a performance!"
They were saying he was ass.
Nah, they weren't.
City fans weren't happy with it. They didn't want to see him.
I was speaking to Daps about it and stuff. They were loving it at the time. Trust me, they were loving it.
I didn't want to bring up an argument there. Sorry, but there's only a few players that can do it, and then we're giving it to some 20-year-old who had a good season at Bolton. Like,
the thing I really hate about this Bradley thing, the best parts of Bradley's game that I saw from Bolton, obviously I had to watch comps. I didn't watch him fully, but it was the fact that he was energetic and loved to go down that byline. His best attributes is stretching the play and providing the overlap for their wingers. That was his best attribute, and crossing it into the box.
And now we're cutting him into the middle.
Yeah, he's old school. He's old school right back. He's not like what's it called? He's not like these new school right backs where they've decided to be playmakers. No, he's old school. He's like your flipping Lawrence and your Steve Finnans and stuff like that. He's like that. He reminds me of Nico Williams, if I'm honest, mate. Like, Nico Williams does that. Like, that's what I liked about Nico Williams.
Yeah.
But and I don't understand this inverted left back. Like, we're literally just being rinsed on the wings. Like, there's nobody on the wings.
I mean, I'll put it this way though. Tsimikas was getting rinsed playing left back anyway. So you're better off having him on the ball and us being better in possession, if that's what they're looking at.
Is he that good of a passer though? He's a good crosser, but is he a good passer of the ball?
No, but he's better at passing the ball. He doesn't need to be like Busquets in midfield to go and do that. He's better off doing that, right? And staying further back, which means we've got more numbers back, that when he's bombing forward, we're losing the ball. And then there's so much ground to cover, we can't even get back. At least in the game yesterday, from what I saw, is there was a couple of times where Tsimikas is just there. He's not like those last games. There was a couple of times where he's in the other half. Where he's in the other half. Boys, now I saw him. Oh, he's near the man. He didn't tackle him. He was out, but he's just just there. He's another body, which means that the player can't just cut inside easily or do something. I think that's the way that the club's looking at it. We're trying to be more possession-based, and the more players we've got just getting in areas to control the ball and be better on the ball is better for us than our fullbacks being proper high as they were before, because we haven't got the same midfield, and we're never going to go back to that now.
I really hope that those 2 games they're just like trying stuff out, and the next games they're like, we need 3 at the back now, and we need to have a centre back in that position, because I'm sorry, like Robbo can't play that position. He just can't.
I
love Robbo as well, but he just can't play that position.
I just think Simicast's just ass, bro.
He needs to go, man. I'm sorry. He needs to go.
JJ, you know how long I've been on this train, bro. Like, we could do better, in my opinion.
We can.
No, we can.
We've got Chambers. Chambers is better than him. Sorry.
I haven't seen him
why
yet.
Xabi Alonso wants him.
Let him go to Bayer. Let him go to Bayer.
We'll see. Big up to Streets Approved Thames, saying Fabinho in his peak kept the ball very well, to be fair. He did. He wasn't as good on the ball as Lavia is, though. I think that's.
He was like, peak Fabinho was like the blend of Alonso and Mascherano put together, but didn't have the ability of what those players had, but just had a blend.
Sleepy saying Fabinho is only 6 centimeters taller than Lavia.
That's a
it's
lot.
187 to 181. Saying Caicedo's even smaller at 179.
6 centimeters is a lot, man. Trust me, it's a lot.
I'll tell you what, though, Caicedo wins a lot of headers. Sorry. He just does.
RJ saying a specialized DM like Lavia is better than any we can use in our squad, to be honest. I don't see a problem, but hopefully get experience as well, meaning a player with hundreds of games under their belt. That being a player with 100 games under the belt, I agree. Redbird D9 saying, I believe Lavia will be good for us. Not hearing this, he's too young nonsense. If you're good enough, you're old enough, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree.
It's not even. I don't get it. I don't get this because none of us have said he's not good enough. We all said he's very, very talented. He's going to be a very, very incredible player when he's older.
All of us think Lavia is a very good player.
I'll say this. The way I see it, right, is like, I'll use the analogy. You're throwing a kid into the deep end without a lifeguard available. If we get rid of Fabinho and both Fabinho and Henderson,
it's just risky. That's all it is. Because
we want an insurance policy.
Exactly. But look, the same way we're talking like this, let's just be honest. He could come in and be the best thing we've ever seen in midfield. He could be the best DM Liverpool have ever, and we could be like, oh my God, what have we just unearthed it? And we could be sitting there at the end of the season saying, wow, what signing that was. He was actually better signing than McAllister and Szoboszlai that we seem not to have any kind of, reservations about. So, but it's just the insurance policy. You're right. We got P.O. Ryan saying, I think Jarrell Kwanzaa is what Klopp is looking for the third centre half role.
He's not ready.
He's not.
I love Kwanzaa. He's not ready.
I think
why is he not ready?
Kwanzaa can be a fourth choice centre back, but we need a third choice centre back. Sorry. We need like a Pavard. Like, we need a good player who's got a lot of players, a lot of
Schlotterbeck.
As well. Who?
Schlotterbeck.
He's going to cost a fortune, isn't he?
Didn't he cost them a fortune?
But he's good though. He's really good.
Dortmund, didn't he? Dortmund.
Mm.
Rams. Why is Konza not good enough? Are you saying? I know you're a big fan.
He's just not ready. I think his reading of the game. I think his positional sense is okay. It's pretty decent. It's actually very good for his age. If we take about his age, it's very, very good. But we'll talk about the Premier League here. We'll talk about the best, one of the most toughest leagues in the world. And you, as a centre back for us, you got to be 80% perfect, and he's not at that level yet. He needs a lot of experience, and he needs a lot more game time. And I think he needs a loan, maybe to either. You know what would be best? The Bundesliga would be best for him because of the way we defend. It would be very good for him if we send him to a Bundesliga club.
Fair.
You know what? I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna stick my neck on the line. Okay. You know who I think would do really well in that position? Nat Phillips.
Left-sided centre back.
He won't move. He'll win the ball.
He get out. Not you need him.
He's not a guy that does things that he can't do.
Yeah, but he'd get pulled out though. The reason why Verge isn't even ever played. He'd get no.
I don't mind the guy who will just win stuff.
But he won't, Kate.
He won't block stuff. They will force him.
The good thing about Nat Phillips is when he was, I'm gonna stay in the middle of in the middle of the park. I'm not going out wide. I'm staying in the middle. I'm gonna win my headers. I'm gonna win anything that's in front of me.
He can be
out wide.
He can be the centre back, the centre of the three.
Yeah, the centre of the three. But then Verge is the type of centre back that doesn't want to go out wide anyway. Verge is another one that wants to stay back. You need either side. You need a Rudiger and what Konate is doing as an example. You need a centre back that's comfortable to go. You know what? I'm going to go out wide. I'm like a Marquinhos. I'm just going to go out wide, and I'm going to play around here. I'm going to win the ball here. Colwell, a great example. He just goes out wide.
We're not linked with any.
We're not
linked with any.
That's why we're hoping for an RKO at some point.
Yeah, man. AZ100, big up to yourself, saying Gerardo Sion expects Manu Kone back in a week or two. Sion added earlier this month that the important thing is that it's not a serious injury. So in regards to Manu Kone and the injury sustained in the Euros, under 20 Euros, you got Wino saying the aim is sign Lavia, bench Fabinho, sign him to an additional 2-year deal. If you want to have both Lavia and Fabinho, you don't sign Lavia and sell Fab. Copy the Real Madrid formula. Fair enough.
True that.
We got Honesty saying, question, but what if Klopp wants Lavia because he knows even if Fab stays, he is in a decline and he'd rather have a youngster who he can mold to play his way? Maybe so. We have RJ saying deals fall through all the time. It's not a big deal. Players go through this throughout their career. They carry on. We have Garrett just saying 35 million on Kone is better business, JJ. So Gary Rich is preferring Kone over Lavia. Interesting. Wino saying Klopp has to talk to Fabinho, reaffirm him on his importance to the team, but that he won't be starting all the games. We have Mac LFC saying Ram, Fab, and Fab aren't sitting in bench power.
I think that's 8.
Fab ain't sitting on bench power. His ego won't allow it.
Well, but his ego might not allow it, but Klopp will just say, maybe you send him to the bench.
I didn't think your auntie was sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
She might be right now. I really don't know. I might need to call her up and say she's all right, man.
Yeah. Honestly saying we are forgetting with Lavia, we get a homegrown player because our homegrown quota is in the mud at the moment. That's a very, very good point.
That's a good point.
James Doherty saying can't keep Fab now. He wants to move. Klopp and Liverpool will look weak. Sell him to anyone if the Saudi deal falls through. Interesting there.
I want to keep him. Sorry. I want to keep him.
Saying, JJ, you don't understand. For Lavia, it is Championship or play at Liverpool. Other clubs aren't honing in for him.
Not true. Arsenal and Chelsea are.
And there are. Listen, if Liverpool doesn't, we've seen the fact that he left City to go and play games at Southampton means that
he will move to someone like a West Ham.
Exactly, a West Ham.
West Ham are looking for a DM now.
Exactly,
and they've got money. And that's the whole point in the Kone and the Thuram stuff as well. Don't be surprised if West Ham and go in for Kone or Thuram.
Yeah,
like they've just bidded for Gallagher. Like they are desperate for a DM now.
And they've got money as well.
And they got money.
Rahul Chandran saying Carvalho was never good enough for us. His attitude was poor. He gave up on his Portugal under-21 teammates. He felt he deserved a place in the senior team.
I can't have the Carvalho shit talk. I'm sorry. Like the guy just wasn't given a chance. Like he was really, really good at Fulham, and he played really well under a Portuguese manager. Like I can't have that. Like he just wasn't given a chance. Sorry.
Yeah.
I wish him well at Leipzig. I really do.
Yeah. Good thing about it is that they play with 2 10s, which he actually spoke about.
One thing I'm worried about is that Leipzig are looking to sign some more 10s as well. So
yeah, but I don't think they would have signed him. I think they've got Javi Simmons, they've got Dani Olmo, they've got him. I know if they sign a 10, but if they sign a 10, they're probably going to be that Nkunku role, like forward. He's going to have.
They've already signed Šeško though, innit?
Yeah. We'll have to just
they've got that Baumgartner as well who can play there.
Yeah. Zia Adin's big up to Zia saying, I hope we sign Sangare as well. If not, then Thuram. Happy we're not getting Caicedo. I think he won't be that good next year with no Mac 10 to direct. Interesting.
Yeah, but Caicedo would be with Matt.
With McAllister
Yeah.
So he will be amazing.
Yeah. Rahul saying Fabinho staying is sensible and Lavia comes in to replace Henderson. Lavia has not even started for Belgium yet, so he should thank his lucky stars that he is playing for Liverpool.
I've got a question for you, JJ.
Mm.
Do you think he could play as an 8 for us?
He could do. He could. Yeah, I think he's good enough. He's good enough to do it. He can definitely do that role. I just think, why get the likes of Szoboszlai, who
We've never got backup for Szoboszlai.
But I mean, but we do.
I just think we've got.
Oh, don't tell me with this Gakpo thing.
No, but that's what Klopp's going to do. But that's what Klopp's going to do. That's the thing. Is Klopp's going to look at it and be like, actually, we could just throw Gakpo in there, and we've got Jones, and we've got Elliott, and we've got Bajcetic, and we've got. When he starts.
Okay, so if you're gonna play that Klopp card, then Klopp also said that he would like his team to be a little bit more versatile, so they could play defensive football. Sorry, they could play possession football, high intensity football, whatever. Surely, horses for courses wise, if we're going through that horses for courses mentality, we could play Lavia in an 8 in certain situations.
Yeah.
What you think? You think it's not possible?
No, that's definitely possible.
On Football Manager, Lavia can play the 8. He can also play defence as well, by the way.
Yeah, he
plays like defence, DM, midfield.
Yeah,
he's not.
He's a natural at box to box as well, by the way. But that's Football Manager.
He's not touching centre back. He is not.
No, you say that. You say
no,
that.
I'm just saying
no, JJ, no.
No, but Lisandro Martinez is the same thing, though. The same type of player. Go look at what Lisandro Martinez was doing.
No, but Lisandro Martinez is more combative than him.
Yeah, but this is that whole argument that Lavia is more combative. That's because you've seen Lisandro Martinez get in people's faces. Go look at what Lavia
for Ajax. Yes, he was.
Yes. But go look at that's my point. But that's because that was required from him. Look at Lavia and what you will see when we play him. He gets in people's faces.
I know he does, but Lisandro is just a little bit more combative.
Yes, that you're just going and seeing. I'm telling you now that as 19 years old, of course, Martinez at 19 years old wasn't no like centre back destroying people.
Yeah. But he played left back.
No, but that's my point, because you asked to go and play left back. I think Lavia could play right back easily.
Well, one thing I'd say, I'd rather see Bajcetic at centre back than Lavia, in my opinion.
Oh, no way.
I'd rather see Bajcetic play centre back than
Ram,
Lavia.
you just spoke to me about Bajcetic not being able to play the DM because of his size, and you want to play a centre back against like a look.
At least he played centre back.
But Lavia played centre back as well. This is my point.
No,
he has done.
I'll tell you a name. That obviously might come back to Liverpool because the deal might fall through. Well, Fabinho is definitely an option at centre back.
Yeah.
That's actually true. That's actually true.
That's unbelievable. So that could obviously solve us some problems there as well.
Yeah,
so he might get a bit more game time.
Maybe so. Maybe it's like, hey, Fabinho.
I ain't got a problem with that.
Nuno wanted to play him at centre back anyway.
Well, we're running it back now. 2020.
Oh, Albert's just wrote the Fabinho deal is off now.
No, it's not. He's just saying that's just a reaction comment. Yeah.
All right.
See you, Albert.
When they're getting Szoboszlai, like I know Uncle Albert, he's cautious like I am. He's cautious. But I need this deal to go through. I need the money, man. I need the money.
Oh, when I say I'll sell someone for certain money, you'd be like, nah, you just love the money, Ram. You love the money. But when you say you want to sell a player for money, then it's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't say shit, bro. Because you know I'm right.
That's a really good point.
What's that?
Didn't Bayern Munich want Fabinho?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, but they've already got a 6.
Who do we want from Bayern Munich?
Hey.
That will never
happen. We want him.
I can see them now. What is that? Is that Kleenex?
We want him.
That's our phone, bro. That's our phone. Calm down.
Yeah. I thought it was a Kleenex.
You know what? That would be amazing. Like I'd love him at Liverpool. He'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I prefer not to speak, otherwise JJ will just cuss me again.
Well, what's that?
I'm not saying anything.
What's
you know
that?
what I'm talking about.
What, Kimmich?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about him?
I'm not going to say anything about him. You just cuss me.
Why not? He'd be an amazing player to get. You can't pay him. Like, we got to Albert, we can't pay him, but I mean,
yeah,
we can give him some of Fabinho's wages because he's on like 150 grand, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he wants like 300 if Kimmich if he's moving, man. That's the thing. He's going to want like 300. He's just not.
Yeah,
exactly.
325.
Yeah.
Oh God, okay.
Euros. Not
so
pounds.
300 then. So he's only three. He's going to want like 300.
Let me get the currency exchange thing.
Watch. We'll be like 298, 300. Watch.
Seriously, is he getting paid more than Thiago is?
Yeah.
It's 279,000, man.
That could be done. That could be
plus
done.
bonuses 300.
Okay, we just lost. We lost Henderson. That's 190, isn't it?
You
can't do that. JJ, yes, JJ.
Wasn't Firmino on 200?
Yeah, no, he was. The thing is, if you're buying Kimmich and you're putting him on that money, it means that he's the highest paid player at the club.
No, he's not.
That couldn't be a swap deal, could it?
He'd be second. He'd be second after Salah, and that.
We did that with Thiago.
Yeah, that. And how did that work?
Kimmich fab.
Kimmich is better.
Oh, is it?
Oh, that would be an unbelievable.
Yeah.
Deal.
All right,
that would be an unbelievable deal. I can't even think about that now. Wow.
Angel, it's not even Volkswagen.
If it's German, buy it.
it's not even Volkswagen, bro. We're talking Audi. No, I don't even know if Audi's German. We're talking
Audi's
BMW.
Audi's German.
I always thought Audi was Austrian, but yeah, either way, if we're talking Audi, BMW, Mercedes level. This is not Volkswagen.
All right. But yeah, man, cool.
Opel then.
Opel. Exactly. But guys, shout out to obviously everyone. That's been the transfer hub for today. Obviously appreciate K-Mac and Ram coming on as well. Appreciate obviously all you guys in the comments. Let us know after the video, please. In the comments after the video is done. Let us know what you think about the deal. Do you think it's going to go through? Let us know what you think about the whole Fabinho situation as well, because I'm really interested to chop up with you guys afterwards as well. K-Mac, just let the people know what's popping on the K-Mac channel.
Yeah, if you can, if you like football info and obviously in-depth stuff about, I did a deep dive on all the DMs that we're linked with. I did that probably about a week ago. So if you check out my channel, you can see that, and I've also done loads of like guest shows and panel shows. You can see them as well. It'd be good if you subscribe. I've only been doing it a couple of weeks now, but I'm over 100. So thanks everyone.
Big up.
And you should also check out Jerry's last couple of videos as well on the games that we just played. They're really good. Like some of the deep dives in there are really good. So big up.
Yeah, big up, man. And Ram, the Ram stand, is it loud? Is it banging? Are the drums?
Look, man, I've been a bit busy this entire week. I was meant to do a stream on the other one. I can't remember the name.
What? Karlsruhe,
yeah. Karlsruhe. But I was just been a bit busy. I was also going to do a stream about the Cole deal being off and also Lavia as well. But hopefully this week, touch wood, I can get it done. But yeah, just look out for my channel at the Ram stand. There will be some stuff being posted on it. ASAP. But yeah, you can also find me on JJ Show, man. I'll be checking things out as well.
There we go, man. Yeah, so guys, appreciate obviously everyone tuning in. Again, please make sure if you're watching this on a repeat or you're watching this, that means towards the end of the show, please make sure you're smashing a like upon exit and upon entry as well. Stay tuned. Please click the notification bell as well to stay up to date with all the content. As I've said numerous times, you never know when we could go live, because guess what? If Lavia signs in 10 minutes, I'm probably going to be live and direct in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to have to move some stuff around to get that content out to you guys. But until next time, people, it's been the Jerry James Show, and we're out. Take it easy.